Hello everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Sapna Kejriwal and in this video I am going to talk about what it really takes to become an effective Scrum Master. Alright, so just having some Agile and Scrum knowledge and facilitating those 5 Scrum events are not the only responsibilities of a Scrum Master. Okay, so there are a couple of steps which I'm going to talk about if you really want to become an effective Scrum Master in your career. All right, so number one is you need to have deep knowledge of Agile and Scrum. And when I say deep knowledge of Agile and Scrum, meaning you need to know why are we doing, what are we doing, what is the purpose of each and every element of Scrum. You need to help others understand the purpose of Scrum and Agile. Okay, because being a Scrum Master, you need to make sure that Scrum is getting implemented effectively in your team as well as in your organization. And this is possible only when you yourself have that deep knowledge of Agile and Scrum, where you know the purpose and the benefit of each and every element of Scrum as well as Agile. Okay, then number two, being a Scrum Master, you take different stances based on the situation. So when I say stances, you need to take a teaching stance, you need to be an impediment remover, you can be a coaching coaching stance, you need to take a coaching stance, you need to take a mentoring stance, you are a facilitator, you are a change agent, you are a true leader of organization, right? So based on situation you need to act accordingly. So let's take an example of this. Okay, so when I say you are a teacher, being a Scrum Master, meaning you need to teach Agile and Scrum to your team, to your organization. You need to teach them Agile values and principles and Scrum values and how do we actually implement empiricism. You need to make them understand, as I mentioned, the purpose of everything in Agile and Scrum. Okay, then number two, you are an impediment remover. So being an impediment remover, there is a misunderstanding that you will have to solve all the impediment by yourself being a Scrum Master, but that's not true. Being an impediment remover, you help your team to solve any kind of impediment or risk or challenges by themselves by asking some powerful question, and you don't provide solution by yourself, right? So you enable them to come up with their own solution so that they brainstorm the ideas among themselves, right? There are flowing of ideas in the team, everybody have their opinion to share, right? They will feel that their opinion is also counted, right? And that's how you also create an environment of you actually create an environment where everybody feel heard, everybody is feel seen, and that's how you make your team self manage, right? But there are some organizational impediment which your Scrum team may not have control on. So in that case, you need to pitch in as a Scrum Master and help to solve that impediment. So for an example, let's say your organization have different teams for different work. So for an example, they do have a development team, they do have a separate testing team or separate operational team who do all kind of deployments, and then there is a design and architectural team, separate design and architectural team who do all the designing and architecture of a system. So if this is happening, then this is one of the impediment, because in Scrum team we need all the skill sets which is needed to deliver that product end to end, right? So that we do not have to depend on some other team. So if that is happening, you need to coach your management, you need to coach your leadership as to what it really takes to be successful in Scrum and in Agile, that we need all the skill sets in Scrum team itself, and we need that cross functional team. All right, then number three, you are a coach. So being a Scrum Master, when I say you are a coach, meaning you ask some solution oriented powerful question to your coachee so that they will come up with their own solutions, and you don't provide any solution when you are coaching someone, you just enable them to come up with their own solutions, right? And then there could be different situations where you need to take this stance. So for an example, you may need to coach your team member, or you may need to coach your team or you may need to coach sometimes to your product owner. You may need to coach your manager or leadership, right? Based on situation. So for an example, let's say your product owner is not aware of product vision, product roadmap, or the product backlog management, right? Then being Scrum Master, you need to coach him about how do we devise the product vision, right? What is the purpose of product backlog management and how effectively actually we manage the product backlog, right? You may need to coach your team member. Let's say your team member is not attending any Scrum events on regular basis and you are observing this behavior, then you may need to talk to that person. You may need to coach that person to help him understand what will happen if he is not attending the event on regular basis. Okay, likewise there could be different situations where you need to take this stance. Then fourth one is you are a mentor, and when I say you are a mentor, you need to mentor someone. Maybe you need to mentor your team member or your team to move from one stage to the next stage, and you give solution in mentor while mentoring. So based on your own experience, based on your own knowledge, you mentor someone. So there's a difference between coaching and mentoring. In coaching, you work with the experience and knowledge of your coachee. However, in mentoring, you work with experience of your own, with the help of your own knowledge, and you provide solution to maybe to individual or to your team. So for an example, let's say if your product owner or team is not aware, like how do we write the user story? So you first write the user story for them just to show them that this is how we write it. And then eventually they take on, right? So what you're doing here, you are mentoring them based on your own knowledge. Okay. Then the fifth stance is facilitator. So definitely you need to take this stance being a Scrum Master, because you may need to facilitate different Scrum events. But again, that does depend on the maturity of your Scrum team. So if your Scrum team is very matured enough, you may need not have to facilitate. Anyone can facilitate this event. But if your team is very new to Agile and Scrum, definitely you need to facilitate, right? And being a facilitator, you need to make sure that everyone understand the intended outcome of these events and everybody is on same page. You also make sure that everybody is aware of the agenda. You also make sure that the discussion is going in the right direction in the event. You also make sure that the action items or the intended outcome is achieved at the end of the each and every event, right? And not only 5 Scrum events, but there could be different meetings which you may need to facilitate being a Scrum Master. All right. Then sixth stance is change agent. So you may need to take this stance. I mean, you need to challenge the status quo of your organization. Meaning, if your organization have been following some traditional practices, and if they want to bring in that agility, you need to challenge the status quo of organization and help them to effectively adopt Scrum or any other framework for that matter in your organization and in your team. And you need to make sure that you do have that culture, that support which is needed in order to get successful in Scrum implementation, right? And when I say culture, meaning culture of innovation, culture of experimentation, where nobody will get punished if they are making some mistakes. So everybody will feel safe. Everybody will feel that I mean, they have their own opinion. They can raise their voice. I mean, they can share their ideas, their solutions. They feel that they are seen, they are heard. So being a change agent, you help to create this culture in your organization. And then last stance is true leader. Always remember that being a Scrum Master, you are the true leader of your organization. And being true leader, you flourish individual growth. Being true leader, you make sure that Scrum again is getting implemented effectively in your team, in your organization, and you do have that culture of safety. And also being a true leader, you actually create leaders around you, right? So these are all the different stances which you need to take. So never tell that your roles and responsibilities is only just to facilitate 5 Scrum events or just helping product owner in product backlog management and stuff. Definitely that is there. But along with that, these are also the areas which you need to look after. All right. Then the fourth point is you need to make sure that you need to help your team to optimize their flow of work by limiting your work in progress or by limiting context switching, multitasking, and applying a lot of lean practices in your team. All right. And then the last and not the least is continuous learning. Being a scrum master, if you really need to become, or if you really want to become an effective scrum master, you need to continuously learn by yourself, by reading different books, different blog posts, and by writing by sharing your valuable information. Maybe you can write any LinkedIn post, or even you can create your YouTube channel. So you need to even teach whatever you learn, so that even your confidence will get higher and higher once you start teaching. Right? You can attend different meetups, or you can conduct different kind of trainings. You can communicate with other scrum masters and agile coaches, and that's how you build that community and also share knowledge with each other. Continuous learning is very important. You need to have that in-depth knowledge of everything. I mean, what all elements in Scrum, and not only Scrum, you can also widen your horizon by exploring different frameworks like Kanban, because definitely some of the Kanban practices which we can implement in Scrum as well. All right. So I hope now you find this video useful, and it's not only about facilitating those 5 Scrum events, but there are other areas also which you need to look after. And yes, one more thing which I forgot, you need to also have the product knowledge and also the product owner competencies. Because let's say if your product owner is not aware of it, you need to coach your product owner as to what is expected out of this accountability. All right. So great. Thank you for watching this video, and do like, subscribe so that you will get notification for my upcoming videos. Thank you so much.